Welcome students to this screencast talking about the vertical line test to test whether or not a relation is a function. And this is Mr. Martin at Greenbrier Middle School. Just a little background information. This actually comes from your book, and you may want to underline and circle this definition. I'm going to circle it here. The vertical line test is a visual method, okay? So it's a visual method. We've looked at some algebraic methods listing the input-output values, but the vertical line test is a visual method used to determine whether a relation represented as a graph is a function. So you're going to be looking at a graph and you want to know, is it a function? To apply this test, you consider all the vertical lines that could be drawn on the graph of the relation. If any vertical line intersects the graph at more than one point. Alright, so we have the graph of the relation. If at all the vertical lines that we draw, and we're just going to sit there and we're going to draw a bunch of vertical lines, just kind of like I'm doing right now. If any of them, alright, if any of them cross more than once, we know that relation is not a function. Alright, so let's try the vertical line test real quick. Here we have some relation, alright, some set of domain values, x, that result in some range of output values here, y. And what we want to know is it a function? Okay, is it a function? And here we're talking about, is y a function of x? So we take our pen and we start drawing vertical lines. Notice that one crosses the function at 1 point. Here's another one. Notice it crosses at 2 points. And that's it. At that point, we see there's one vertical line, and it crosses this function at 2 points. Because the vertical line test, when we draw this vertical line and it crosses this relation at 2 points, this is not a function. Because the graph of the relation fails the vertical line test. And that vertical line test says, if vertical lines only touch the function once, it's a function. If vertical lines drawn touch the function more than once, it is not a function. So because we drew a vertical line and it intersected or touched this function in more than one place, that graph of that relation shows that this is not a function. All right, so is it a function? No, this is not a function because it fails the vertical line test. Now, how about this one? That last one looked like a sideways V. This one looks like a right side up V. In fact, this is the graph. It looks to be the graph of an absolute value equation, okay? Or an absolute value relation. Now, the question is it a function? Well, let's draw some vertical lines. I'm going to use red here. Well, that vertical line only touches once. That one seems to only touch one time there. One time there. Here's another vertical line. It only touches once. Here's another one. There's another. I think you notice that no matter where I draw my vertical line, our vertical lines only touch this graph of this relation one time. Therefore, this is a function. Because it passes, all right, and I'm going to use quotation marks here, it passes the vertical line test. Because I honestly need to explain, and if you were to write this out for me, I would want you to explain what does it mean to pass the vertical line test. And you could tell me, because when I draw vertical lines, those vertical lines only intersect the graph of this relation one time for each line. Notice over here, and I'm going to put this one in quotations as well, when I wrote we failed the vertical line test, That means when I drew my vertical line, and notice I could draw others as well, those vertical lines in multiple places intersect that graph or touch that graph more than one time. Look at all of these places where these vertical lines intersect with our relation. Therefore, this relation is not a function. All right? Not a function here, is a function here. And notice we use the words pass and fail the vertical line test, and we explain that in this screencast.